What's up guys, this is Rampage here, and today I'm actually going to be bringing you guys my Pokemon Showdown matches that I had from the first round of the TokenMinorities tournament. This is a pretty interesting tournament where you have to win a best out of 2 of 3 games each round in order to advance. And what's interesting about the tournament as well is that each game has to be a different tier, being OU, UU, and RU, and as you can tell from this battle, this is clearly our OU game. And when you look at the teams, I'm on the far right side, I guess you could say. It doesn't even look like I'm on the right, but I am on the right side. I'm using a pretty offensive team, Dio Sharp offense, and Mega Manectric and Scarf Landers to clean up at the end. I also have a Life Orb Keldeo and a Weakness Policy Aegislash. I did upload the Showdown live with this team. And my opponent, he's using a pretty offensive team. Well, yeah, pretty offensive team as well. Although he does have a Ferrothorn and a Heatran, which could be defensive. Well, the Rotom could be as well. Nice, powerful Fire, Water, Grass core. And he also has the Threatening Mawile, Keldeo, and Thundurus. So this is definitely going to be an interesting battle. And without further ado, we can get started. So my opponent, he's going to lead off with his Mawile, and I'm going to lead off with my Deoxys. I'm just going to go for Stealth Rocks. I don't think he's going to go for the Swords Dance because he knows that Deoxys, tend to carry Taunt, and I could easily just taunt him, preventing him from Swords Dancing or Substitute if he has it. So I'm just going to get my Rocks up. As he goes for the Play Rough, unfortunately he gets a crit off on me, knocking my Deoxys out, which sucks. I could have got up a Spike or at least saved my Deoxys for Death Fodder had he not got that crit, because I did have the Red Card. But I'm just going to go out in the Landers, and I'm going to go for the U-turn because I think he's going to switch out into either his Thundurus or his Rotom, and he does opt to switch out into his Rotom, meaning I can go out into my Manectric and just Mega Evolve and go for the Volt Switch. And I Volt Switch out into my Aegislash as he unfortunately misses his Hydro Pump. I guess it might make up for the Play Rough crit, but I really wouldn't have taken too much from the Hydro Pump. Although his Rotom did seem to be offensive from the damage I was dealing to it. But anyway, he's going to switch out into his Heatran on the Shadow Ball. And I'm going to switch out into Keldeo because Keldeo is a stop to this Heatran. And he's actually going to nicely predict my switch and go for the Toxic as I switch out. So good play on him. I'm just going to go for the Secret Sword and try to knock out the Heatran. But he's going to switch out into his Rotom Wash, his Death Fodder, which I guess is a good play since it was so worn down. And now he can just go out into his Ferrothorn. I'm pretty sure his Ferrothorn is just going to try and set up Rocks right here to hinder my Volt Turn offensive core with Manectric and Landers. And he does just go for the Rocks, meaning I am able to 2-hit KO his Ferrothorn with the next Secret Sword. But he is going to go for the Protect. I thought this Heatran would have Protect and not his Ferrothorn, but turns out his Ferrothorn does indeed have Protect. He's going to try and go for the Double Protect just so the Toxic will kill me. Luckily, he does not get the Double Protect off, and I'm able to knock out the Ferrothorn, which is nice. I really just wanted to get rid of that Ferrothorn. And I do lose my Keldeo in the process, but it's fine because I'm just going to go out into my Manectric as he goes out into his own Keldeo. The Intimidate doesn't matter at all. I don't know if his Keldeo will be Scarf. I usually don't see Scarf Keldeo this gen, so I don't think it's going to be Scarf, but it turns out he is indeed Scarfed, and he's going to hit me with a Hydro Pump. Luckily, he doesn't kill me. And now, this play was a little questionable. He went out into his Thundurus right now. I don't know what his thought process right here was, but I am able to just go for a Thunderbolt. I'm not able to knock out the Thundurus without the crit, of course. I did unfortunately get a crit. Without the crit, I would not have been able to knock the Thundurus out. At least I don't think so. But if his Thundurus was Life Orb, I think I would have put it in the range where he dies to a from Life Orb recoil. And I really couldn't switch out, so I just don't know what he was planning to do. He can't Thunder Wave Manectric. I am faster, and I do get off a hell of a lot of damage. So I just don't know why he went out into Thundurus now. But it works out great for me because I do get a crit. It does suck for him, but with Thundurus out of the way, I can just spam Earthquakes with my Landers at this point. So yeah, that sucks, but he does lose his Thundurus. He's going to go out into his Mawile now. Can easily kill me with the Sucker Punch, which is fine because, like I said, I do have Landers and I can just spam Earthquake. Earthquake will be able to knock this Mawile out. And I do get the Intimidate off, meaning I can take the Sucker Punch. I'd be able to take it even if I didn't get the Intimidate off since I have such high health. But he's just going to switch out into his Heatran, hoping that his Mawile can take me out with a Sucker Punch without the attack drop. But he doesn't go for Sucker Punch. Maybe he predicted my switch out in the Aegislash and went for a Swords Dance or something. But whatever the case, I'm just going to stay in, go for the Earthquake, knock the Mawile out, and that's going to be a good game. And that concludes the first battle we had for the TheTokenminorities tournament. That concludes OU, and now we're just going to move on to the next tier. And we decided to have a UU game next, so stay tuned for that. And here we have the second battle, and as you can see, it is UU. I am on the left side, and my opponent, he is on the right. And when I look at his team, I see a lot of threats, mainly that Hydreigon. Although my Hippowdon is specially defensive, I don't know how well it's going to be able to take Life Orb, their Specs, Draco Meteors from Hydreigon, so that thing is definitely a threat. He also has the Metagross and Victini, which are checked decently by my Blastoise, but they can easily wear down my Blastoise, since Blastoise is pretty much my only answer for those two. Shaman I'm not too worried about because I do have Jirachi and Roserade. His Blastoise can definitely be threatening, definitely if it's Mega, because if Roserade happens to go down, nothing likes taking its coverage moves. And Hippowdon I'm not too worried about because I'm pretty sure it's just going to be some type of support set with Stealth Routes, Slack Off, Whirlwind, and maybe Toxic, or, well, he's definitely going to have Earthquake, but yeah, he'll either have Whirlwind or Toxic, so I'm not too worried about Hippowdon. And my team, I did use this team in a previous Showdown live, although I did change two of the Pokemon. I'm using a Swords Dance Mew, Life Orb Roserade, Scarf Mienshao, Mega Blastoise, a specially defensive Hippowdon, and a sub Calm Mind Jirachi. So without further ado, we can just get started with this battle. I'm going to lead off with my Mienshao, and my opponent, he's going to lead off with Hippowdon. I'm just going to go for the knockoff right off the bat because I want to make this thing less annoying by getting rid of its leftovers. And I'm pretty sure he was just going to go for his Stealth Rocks, which he did. And now I can just switch out into Blastoise to eat up an Earthquake and just go for a Scald. But he did, I can't talk. But he's actually going to predict my switch nicely and go for the Whirlwind. And he Whirlwinds me out into my Roserade, which is fine because I can set up a Spike. I went for the Spike because he does have Metagross, which can eat up Grass move, and it's immune to Poison. So now I'm going to go out into my Hippowdon as he goes for a Dark Pulse. I actually thought he would go for a Fire Blast, but the Dark Pulse is fine because I'm able to eat it up. It does around 40%, and I see no Life Orb, so I'm actually thinking that his Hydreigon is actually Specs. But I'm going to go for the Toxic, predicting the switch out. Luckily, he does switch out into his Blastoise, so I'm able to get that thing nice and toxic, wear it down with the Sand, the Toxic, and the Spike. And I'm pretty sure he's just going to go for the Water Pulse to try and get rid of my Hippowdon. It is a pretty fat Pokemon that he doesn't want to deal with. So I'm going to switch out into my Roserade to eat up the Water Pulse. It does do a lot though, it does 33% to me. And I'm just going to scare the Blastoise out. I am going to go for Leaf Storm over Sludge Bomb just in case he wanted to go out into his Metagross or Victini or Shaman. And the Leaf Storm still does a lot to Hydreigon, so I'm not worried at all. He's just going to finish me off with a Dragon Pulse. I really didn't want to switch because I didn't know what move he would lock himself into. And I can just get the safe switch with my Mienshao and go for the U-turn. And he is just going to go out into his Hippowdon. Just going to go for the U-turn like I said. And go right back out into my Blastoise. Put on some offensive pressure with this thing. Just going to go for the Scald. No, I'm not. I'm actually going to go for the Aura Spirit in case he wanted to switch out into his Shaman. But he opts to just stay in and go for the Earthquake. Able to eat that up easily, and another Aura Spirit will be able to take out the Hippowdon. So he's going to go out into a Shaman now. I'm just going to switch out into my Jirachi because Jirachi can definitely take the Seed Flare. But unfortunately for him, he does miss. I would have been able to eat that up nicely, but he could have potentially got the Spadef drop, so it's kind of unfortunate that he misses. But I'm just going to go for the Thunderbolt right here, just in case he wanted to switch out into his Hydreigon. But he actually goes out into his Blastoise, which is nice. He was probably predicting a physical Jirachi set, but I am special. And I'm able to just 2-hit KO the Blastoise. So that's nice. Now he has a safe switch out into his Victini. Blastoise is pretty low, so I don't have anything to take a V-Create. Although, I am able to live this V-Create, so I'm thinking that this Shaman is probably Scarfed, because Bandit would have definitely taken me out. and seeing as though he outsped me right here, that proves that he's scarfed because he was at -1 speed. And now I can just go into Mian Chao, go for a knockoff, get rid of anything's item. I don't care. I know he's probably going to switch out. I thought he would actually go out into his Hydreigon, but he actually goes out into his Metagross. Metagross, and unfortunately, I get the crit right there. But as you guys saw, his Metagross had a Life Orb, so after I knock off the Life Orb, I'm pretty sure another knockoff would have just been able to take out the Metagross, seeing as though it was offensive, and he would not have been able to knock me out with a Bullet Punch. So the crit mattered, but in the long run, I'm not sure how much it mattered. I really don't think it did too much. But anyways, now he's going to go out into his Hydreigon, and I'm going to switch out into my Jirachi, knowing that he's probably going to go for the Dragon move, and he does just go for the Dragon Pulse. So Jirachi can actually set up on this thing. I'm going to go for a sub, as he's going to switch out into his Shaman. And I'm wearing the Shaman down, which is nice. I want to wear it down to the point where a high jump kick will be able to knock it out. And I think it's in that range. But I'm just going to go for a Side Shock. I'm not going to go for any Calm Minds because I don't want to mess around with speed ties. And like I said, I just want to get this thing in the range where high jump kick will kill, which it is in that range now. So I don't have to really go for any Calm Minds. And I'm just going to keep going for Side Shocks. I really don't care if he switches out into his Hydreigon right here. But he's actually just going to stay in. And he is going to win the last speed tie, go for the Earth Power, knock out my Jirachi, but he will die to the Life Orb in the process. And this gives me a safe switch out into my Mian Chao. And I can just go for the U-turn as he goes out into his Victini. Get some nice damage off on the Victini. And now I can just go out into my Hippowdon, as he's just going to go for the V-Create. My Hippowdon is pretty much Death Bother at this point. I can't use it for anything else. And I think I win with Victini and Mian Chao, High Jump Kick and Sucker Punch. So he's just going to be able to knock out my Hippowdon with another V-Create, which is fine. And right here, I thought that if I just spam knockoff, I should be able to win, because knockoff will kill this Victini. I am Scarf, so I outspeed. But if he does switch out into his Hydreigon, that's also fine if I get a knockoff off on that thing, because it probably will be a 2-hit KO, seeing as though it's only at 35%. And even if he did somehow to kill, even if he did somehow kill my Mian Chao with his Hydreigon, I do have Mew with Drain Punch, and then I can just Sucker Punch the Victini once it comes back in. So I figured going for knockoffs would be the safest play right here, and I'm just going to spam knockoff at this point. It will be able to knock out his Victini, so that's nice. And he's just going to be forced to go out into his Hydreigon. It is his last Pokemon. I'm just going to go for the knockoff on this thing. Turns out he actually has the specs like I thought, and even if he was Scarfed, since I got the knockoff off, Victini will be able to outspeed. And I can just go for a Drain Punch once my Mian Chao goes down and knock out this Hydreigon, and that's going to be GG. So I'm able to advance to the second round of the tournament. I was able to win 2 out of 3 games in OU and UU. They were both pretty good battles, and I really had fun. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and if you did, please push that like button. Also leave a comment. You know I enjoy reading your comments. Also check out my opponent. He does upload some good content. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, and I will see you guys in the near future. Hope you have a wonderful day. This is Rampage here, signing out, and peace out.